my baby. I'm dying. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome, everyone. It's Monday night. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman, and we are the Sports Hounds, airing exclusively here on A2DRadio.com. Huge shout out to Frank Vesby behind the scenes, keeping the train on the tracks. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, and Twitch. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us wherever you get your podcast. Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Take over talk. A2D Radio is here. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Like, comment, follow, subscribe, share. Don't miss a damn thing here on A2D Radio. Like we are each and every Monday, we are brought to you by our doc. Make them yours too. Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. 2 convenient locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. He's our doc. Make them yours too. Dr. Paul Vidal. Specialized Physical Therapy, also brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for 20% off your order. We're having a lot of fun tonight because the pre-show conversations got a little testy. We're going to have a big football show. We got the NHL expansion draft. We got the Flyers and some other teams in the offseason moving and shaking. MLB trade deadline just around the corner. But, Brad, football is in the air. That is the bread and butter of –
What is it, a week? It's a week away, right?
What?
The football camps, right? Don't they open next Monday?
Yeah, the 26th. And I look down, it's already the 19th of July.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The summer's flying
next
by.
Monday.
Baseball's
Yes,
keeping me just interested enough to get me to football. Football is the bread and butter of North American sports. Everybody loves football. Everybody has their opinions about football. Everyone has their team in football. Everyone has their fantasy football lineups. Everyone has their bets. It's a lot of fun. We're going to take a look at each division over the next coming weeks. And this week, we are talking about the glamour division of the NFL: Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington football team. It is the NFC East, maybe the worst division in the history of football last year. Our poll question tonight is brought to you by Sunrise Detox Center. Sunrise Detox Center. If anyone needs help with addiction, mental health issues, contact Sunrise Detox Center. Tell them A2D Radio Center sent you. Tell them Tom Arnone sent you. 856-651-8117. There it is right there on the bottom of the screen. Johnny on the spot, Frank Vesby, because I lost the read in the comments. That's why he's the best in the biz. Frank Vesby right there, producing the program every Monday. Our poll question tonight, Brad, the Dallas Cowboys are overwhelming favorites to win the NFC East. Agree or disagree? The poll question was designed to get a reaction from you, from me, to everyone in the comments. We're going to get to everybody's comments in a second, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Twitch, wherever. They all come. We read them all. We get into everything here on the Sports Hounds. So, Brad, I'm going to start with you. The Dallas Cowboys are overwhelming favorites to win the NFC East.
Disagree to the poll. Favorites, yes. Overwhelming, no. Because really, they're not. The Cowboys really have not improved their defense all that much, if at all. They lost their top pass rusher, Aldon Smith, who had a zillion sacks last year. Unless that linebacker that they drafted in the first round really makes all that much of a difference, I can't tell you if he does or not. But is he going to replace Smith? I kind of doubt it. I think they're going to be about the same going into this year. They still have the same coach who wasn't able to figure it out last year, and Mike McCarthy. Dak has still not fully recovered yet from his injury. He looked a little wobbly. If you or anybody else were watching the films today of him running around, I mean, he had a noticeable limp. Look, it's only July 19th right now. And the football season doesn't start till like September 1st, September 2nd, somewhere in there.
I think it's the 14th. I think it's Thursday the 14th.
Thursday. Okay, so he's got 2 solid months right now to get better. And they did
the Cowboys are in that opening Thursday game taking on the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And that'll be a loss. But I mean that'll be 0-1 for sure.
Yeah, but Brad, maybe they'll cover. Maybe they'll cover. That's why football is so great. That's why it's the bread and butter of North American sports. Because they can lose and you can still win money.
I'd like to see what kind of a punishment Tampa Bay is going to get for the whole Brady issue. I mean that could be a little interesting in the next few weeks.
The Brady issue?
You didn't hear about Brady?
What's going on with Brady?
He had a torn MCL last year, and he played through it the whole season. And the Bucs never put it down on the injury list.
I mean,
that's a big deal. According to what I've heard, that's a big deal. They're going to get in trouble. Now, I don't know if they're going to get fined. I know the Pittsburgh organization got a $125,000 fine for not listing Ben Roethlisberger with the elbow injury a couple of years ago. Remember when Ben missed the whole season because of his elbow?
Yeah.
Well, the week before he finally was shut down for the season, the Steelers didn't list him with his elbow on the injury report. They got fined $125,000 for that. Now, Brady...
That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying, listen, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you, I don't, they did this for the whole season. I don't know what is going to happen here if there's going to be suspensions or anything along those lines. As it is right now, Tampa Bay would just take Dallas apart with that.
If there's suspensions over this, and Tom Brady's no choir boy, he's been he's suspended. He's Mr. Gamesmanship. Him and his buddy Bill Belichick, and I'm sure Bruce. Don't you think everybody does that though, Brad? Every team in the NFL, including your beloved Giants, my beloved Eagles, they bend the rules, they twist the rules, they embellish injuries, they hide injuries. Like, who cares? Like, come on.
Yeah, but not everybody gets caught. It's one thing to do it, but they got caught. So I don't know.
And you know what? Because everybody cheats. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying in professional sports. Because everyone's trying to get that edge. I think you should be punished if you're dumb enough to get caught. That's why teams get punished.
Well, they're going to.
The dumber you are, the bigger the penalty should be.
Something's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to lose draft picks. If anybody's going to get. I don't know.
It's like those idiots before the combine that fail drug tests. Like you've known for months and months that you're getting piss tested at the combine, and you're still pissing hot. So you don't get to be a first round pick. You don't get to be the first pick anymore. You got to go to the back of the draft and take less money because you're an idiot. That's why you're punished, not because you did drugs. No,
I agree with you. I agree. It's all a financial thing. I'm just saying I don't know what the situation is. I just don't think that Dallas they'll be favored, but I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be overwhelming favorites. I mean, overwhelming odds-on favorite is under even money, and I don't think they're going to be under even money. I'd be shocked.
Oh, they're not, and this doesn't. I agree to the poll. I can't really sitting here on July 19th. This is very early in the ball game, and we're not doing official predictions right now, so I can adapt my predictions as I obtain more information throughout this summer. But as I sit here on July 19th, I cannot envision a scenario where Dallas doesn't win this division by 3, 4, maybe even 5 games, Brad.
I think you're underestimating. You're not giving enough credit to the Washington football team or the Giants.
First off, you can't, as a Giants fan. No, you got your Yankees. You have your Rangers shirt on tonight, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty pumped up. I'm pretty pumped up by what's going to be happening with them this year. I think they're going to have a great season.
Well, yeah, I mean, teams that stink are usually pumped for the offseason, and then they fade away during the season. The Rangers haven't made the playoffs in God knows how long. But
Well, they made it 2 years ago.
But I digress. And are you going to sit here as a Giants fan and tell me you believe Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback?
I think he's got the ability to be one.
That's not what I asked. Do you think Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback?
He could be. Let's see what happens when he's got some talent around him. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he throws a nice ball. Okay, I think his decision making has to improve. I think he's got to get rid of the ball a little quicker. But he's got some weapons now. He's got Barkley back. I mean, I think things are going to be a lot different in New York now. I think they're going to score some more points. They have a lot more team speed offensively. They have a very good defense, and I think the Giants are going to be competing all the way down to the end of the season to win this division.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying they're going to be 13-4 or 12-5, but I could see the Giants winning 9-10 games and being right there. And I don't think the Cowboys are that good that they're going to win that many more than that. Not with this defense. I mean, they were 1-3 when Dak got hurt. Okay, and they were also when Dak got hurt against the Giants. The Giants were ahead by 2 touchdowns when he got hurt. Andy Dalton came in and torched them and got the win that game. So, as far as
there's a lot, but the Giants just saw that Dak got hurt and took their foot off the gas. It's like game 1 with the Sixers and the Hawks. The whole Sixers team saw that Joel Embiid was active and was going to play a full plethora of minutes. Everyone took their foot off the gas, and the Hawks went up by 27, and the Sixers could never recover. That's what happened in that game. Simple as that.
Maybe. I mean,
Okay, let me just tell you. Daniel Jones stinks, Brad. He is not a franchise quarterback, and he will be the downfall of the New York Giants this upcoming season. And by the way, you want to talk about Dak Prescott coming off a major? Saquon Barkley tore his ACL last year. That's a major injury.
He's back, and he's fine.
As is Dak, and I think Dak's going to be fine too.
Did you see Dak today? Did you see Dak today on ESPN?
Yeah, I watched him. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a limp. It's his first time working out in a football setting. I mean, not working out, but practicing in a team setting in months.
That's not a good sign that it's not a good sign that he's still limping. I mean, Barkley is not limping. Barkley is running. He's running. He's sprinting, and he doesn't look like there's anything wrong with him right now, Barkley. So I mean, again, his injury happened early in the season as well. His injury was a 6-month injury. Dak had a very serious ankle injury.
Okay, an ACL is not a 6-month injury.
Well, it is for the most part.
It's not.
I mean, it's a different. Football and basketball are different sports. And Barkley also, if you take a look at what kind of a freak of an athlete he is, he's looking very good out there right now. I wouldn't worry about Barkley. I'm not worried.
Let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that you're correct about Dak Prescott, and he's still a little gimpy, and he still has 2 months to get ready for that first Thursday game against the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't think he's going to be playing.
2 months.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be playing. I think
intangibles of Dak even possibly playing gives that team a huge, huge mental boost than showing up all week knowing you're going to get smoked because Ben DiNucci's the quarterback, because Andy Dalton's the quarterback.
You're right about that, but okay, so then they'll lose to Tampa Bay 42-28 instead of 42-14.
And number 2 about the Dallas, another reason I agree with that, Bull, that defense can't be any worse. It can't. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah, but they're missing their top pass rusher. Who's gonna
Marcus Lawrence is their top pass rusher. I know he didn't have the most sacks last year, but that's because he demands the most attention. And he's got to have a bounce back year for them, no doubt about it.
Yeah, but now they can load up. Now offensive lines can load up on him and pay more attention to him because Smith's not on the other side.
Okay, but let's look at you have DeMarcus Lawrence up front. You have maybe talent-wise 3 of the best starting linebackers in the entire NFL in Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons and Jalen Smith. I know Van Der Esch has trouble staying healthy sometimes.
Well, that's.
But
I mean,
when he is on the field, the guy's a total monster.
Oh, he's a beast. I agree with you. And
but then you have Trevon Diggs.
But their defense, Rob, is nowhere near as good as Washington or the Giants. The Giants and Washington have superior defenses compared to them.
I cannot argue that.
Dallas has the best. Dallas, without any doubt, has the best key players as far as their offense.
But Brad, who's the only team in the division, the NFC East, with a franchise quarterback?
Dallas.
Mm-hmm. That, in my opinion, in a weak division, which the NFC East, I think it's going to be a lot better than last year. I think the champion.
I agree. It can't be worse, can it?
I think the champion will have double-digit wins, above 500.
Yeah,
I certainly don't think you're going to be talking about
10-7. I think 10-7 can win the division. I think you're going to see 10-7, 9-8, 8-9, and 6-11. And I think the order is going to be the Giants, Washington, Dallas, and the Eagles.
Another reason I think that the Dallas Cowboy offensive line, now it's not what it was when they had Romo and just those beasts up front.
It's not fair to compare anybody to those guys. That was one of the best offensive lines in the history of football. I mean, you had what three all pros on their offensive line back then.
So you have Tyron Smith, Connor Williams, Tyler Badass Biadazi, Zach Martin, who's a stud, and Lyle Collins, who's a stud in the prime of his career. That's probably the best offensive line in the division. With all due respect to the Lane Johnsons and Jason Kelsey's in Philadelphia.
Who are also both over 30, unfortunately.
Correct.
So we'll see. That's a problem for the Eagles.
And then I think Dallas also has nice pieces in the secondary. Trevon Diggs, rookie last year. You have Kelvin Joseph, who they picked in the second round of this year's draft, a cornerback out of Kentucky, who led the NFL.
He's going to get picked on a lot. We'll see if he's good.
I think he'll take Anthony Brown's job sooner or later. Kelvin Joseph, Brad, led the SEC in interceptions until he decided to opt out and sit out due to COVID concerns and to prepare himself to be a professional football player. They also picked a guy out of LSU who I love, in addition to Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox. He's a linebacker.
Micah Parsons is very good. However, that defense still has a long way to go. They are not, as I said, they are not nearly as good as the Giants or the Washington football team.
And then even if Dak is a little gimpy to start the season, he's still at a diminished capacity going to be able to get the football to the receiving core of Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb.
That is where they have
far superior
and Ezekiel
ease.
Elliott. They're look. There's no question that their positions of the guys that have to score the points, the running backs, the tight ends, the receivers. They have an edge on the whole division in that department. Absolutely. No argument there. They may have the best offensive line in the division as well. However, again, their defense is going to give up a lot of points. And against a team with a good defense, I don't think they're going to push anybody around, and I don't think they're going to score enough points to win games. I mean, they kind of proved that just before Dak got hurt. If you remember the Brown game last year, I mean, they came back, but they were down 39 to or 38 to 10 or 38.
Okay, but even with an all-time bad defense last year, we've talked about it a million times on the show. Last year, in the offseason, and now. If Dak Prescott doesn't dislocate his ankle in what was it, week 3, does Dallas not run away with this division last year?
Week 4. They were one in well, last year they probably would have. But I think what you saw with Washington and the Giants in the second half of the season, both those teams took big steps forward. I think both those teams are going to get better. The Redskins, I'm sorry, I keep calling them the Redskins. The Washington football team's defense is real good. And it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, but Brad, they don't have a quarterback. Washington football team has all the pieces in place except for quarterback.
No, Fitzpatrick isn't that. But they scored a lot of points last year with, with the crap they had last year, and they had a bad. I mean, they ended up when Alex Smith played, and I don't really think there's that big a difference between Alex Smith and Fitzpatrick. I think they're both. I think Fitzpatrick is a little bit more of a gunslinger than Smith is, but they both play kind of the same game. And Ryan Fitzpatrick can run a little bit. I mean, look, is he going to have some games where he's going to throw 3, 4, 5 interceptions? Yeah, because that's what he does. But then there's going to be games where he's absolutely brilliant. So the question is, from week to week, I don't think he's as consistent as Dak, but he can be in certain situations.
Look, I don't agree with much of what you just said. I would much rather have Alex Smith as my quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a career journeyman backup. He's a backup quarterback.
But
Alex Smith won playoff games in this league.
How did he do with Miami last year? Did pretty well.
They didn't make the playoffs, and he ultimately got benched for Tua Tagovailoa, who was a rookie. And I'm not, by the way, a rookie that I'm not 100% sold on.
No, he needs some time, but I think he's going to be pretty good as well.
Okay, but I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's a journeyman backup. He's played for every team in the league, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's going to pull out the Fitzmagic for 4 games a year. He's going to play out his ass, 500 yards passing, this, that, and the other, usually when he plays the Philadelphia Eagles for whatever reason, and he's going to win you those games. Then he's going to have these games where you just scratch your head, the 4 games where he doesn't look like he's even in the league, and he's going to totally blow, and you're going to want to pound your head against the wall if you're a Washington football team fan because the guy stinks and you want to throw him right out of town. And then the other 8 games of the season, give or take, whatever the math works out to be, he's going to be okay. He's going to be average.
Well, that's pretty much what you're going to get out of him. But he's still way better than Haskins or Alex Smith.
Haskins gets beat. Did you see he got beat up by his girlfriend and he called the cops and got his girlfriend arrested?
Yeah, that's Haskins.
What a wimp. I mean, even if I got, which, by the way, I'm not Mr. Tough Guy. I'm Mike Tyson by no means. But if I ever got beat up by a girl, I won't be getting on the phone and calling the damn police to tell them what happened. So it'd be all on the news that a pro football player got beat up by a girl.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody.
You take your lumps, you keep it to yourself, and you handle it by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. I know that's not a...
Rob, you go into radio silence.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's not a...
But all I'm saying is last year, as good as their defense was, half their games they had him quarterbacking, and the other half they had Alex Smith. And Alex Smith by the end of the season couldn't move.
Well, he was damaged goods. I mean, he shattered his leg, and he was also extremely old.
I know, but they won games with him quarterbacking. That's what I'm saying.
And by the way, Taylor Heineke, I'm not so sure he beats out Ryan Fitzpatrick in camp for that job. He looked pretty good in the playoffs game against Tampa. That's
true. That was his first game though, and there'll be film on him now. So I mean,
I get it, but to have your first game to be in the playoffs against a team like that, a defense like that, and by the way, the greatest quarterback of all times on the other side of the sideline, that's kind of impressive.
Oh, absolutely.
And they backdoor covered the game, and I lost a bunch of money. So I have no love lost for Tyler Heineke.
Bottom line, Rob, Dallas talent-wise, because of their offense, should be the favorites. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but overwhelming. I consider overwhelming like odds on, like a 3-5 shot, a 4-5 shot. something like that. I don't think it's. I think you're looking at if you're a horse player, okay, and you're betting. You're probably saying Dallas is 3. It would be one of those races where the favorite's 3-1, the co-favorite is 4-1, and the third place team. So I'd say Dallas would be 3-1. The Redskins would come out. Excuse me. The Washington football team would come out 4-1, and the Giants would be like 9-2, and then the Eagles would be 10-1 at this point. Now, obviously, things can change, but that would be my preseason. That would be my preseason. If I'm being an odds maker, I think that's pretty fair.
Now let's get to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's the only team we haven't really touched on yet. As an Eagles fan, I've gone from this team's going to absolutely stink to they're going to win 3 games. I'm going to have a paper bag on my head. I'm going to be so disinterested in this football team that I'm going to start playing golf on Sundays in the fall. I've warmed up to this football team on that level to the point where I don't think they're going to win this division, but I'm in like the 6 to 7 win range.
That's about right. That's about
and
right.
I think that 3rd and 4th is going to be kind of a hotly contested battle between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's how much I don't believe in Daniel Jones. I don't believe him. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And
we have to buy
understand
because he's our quarterback right now. So, and I don't think by the way, I don't think Daniel Jones was that bad last year. I think he was okay. I think a lot of the problem was they had nobody to throw the damn ball to, and he held the ball too long trying to get the ball down the field. I think now with the improvements they've made in wide receiver, and by the way, Barkley is back. I think there's going to be a difference, and they have a very reliable second string quarterback, running back, Booker, who can catch the ball and do things like along those lines. But I think they're receivers, they really improved in the receiving department. I mean, Rudolph is the tight end. I like him. I've always liked
Kyle Rudolph is probably the most underrated signing in the whole NFL this whole offseason.
Well, I think he's gonna make a big difference for Jones because I think he's gonna be Jones's safety valve. I think you're gonna have Galladay now. You're gonna have their first round draft pick who's got a lot of speed, who can certainly help. You've got Slayton.
Yeah, but you guys panicked. You guys didn't get Devontae Smith because the Giants or the Cowboys and the Eagles made it so the Giants couldn't get him. You panicked. You traded back and you got a first round extra one next year. I believe you got an extra one next year.
Yeah, next year we have
that was the Kadarius Toney in the first round, Brad. That's a total reach of a pick.
I don't really care if he's a reach or not. He's going to be a good player, and that's really all that matters as far as I'm concerned. You're picking 19th. Yeah, there's not that much.
You're picking 19th by choice, though.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, look, I think they did what they thought was going to make their team good. And I see a comment about Ingram, and I think that I've made my opinions quite clear about Ingram. Okay, I'm not a big fan. Okay, I've never been a big fan. He's either getting hurt or dropping the ball in the most crucial of situations. He's cost them many a game because he doesn't make the catch in a big spot. We'll see. Now that he's not the focal point anymore. He is fast. We have to give him that. Maybe he can start hanging on to the ball and making some big plays. They've got enough guys now who can make plays. It's going to be up to Jones to be able to get the ball to these guys. I think he'll be fine, though. I don't foresee any kind of a problem with that. The offensive line, I know it was bad, but it improved a lot over the season. I saw today I think they were saying that they rated the Giants' offensive line as the worst in the league. It was the worst in the league last year at the midpoint of the season. It got a lot better in the second half of the season, a lot better. So I'm not as worried about the offensive line as some people are. I don't think. Listen, is it going to be great? No, but keep in mind, You had a lot of rookies and second-year players. The only veteran on now that's going to be on the offensive line is Hernandez. I like him. I mean, it would have been nice to keep Zettler, but Zettler was 30 years old, and the Giants decided that they wanted to have a nice young offensive line to grow. Fine, we'll see how that works out. I mean, if it doesn't work out, you know what? Gettleman's going to lose his job, and that's going to be it for him.
Because so you think that David Gettleman's tenure is directly tied to the success of Daniel Jones?
This year, yes.
So if Daniel Jones goes out there and flops, like I think he's going to flop, and the Giants underachieve big time. If
the Giants underachieve this time, he's going to go. Judge is going to go, and you're going to see a big change in the whole organization. But
I think that would be a mistake to can Judge. I think that's a mistake to tie Judge and Jones together.
But if you're firing the GM, you have to let the GM, a new GM, choose his own coach.
But I think Judge is a good coach.
I think he is too. Now, it depends what. Let's just say for the sake of argument, the Giants flop and Jones is the not Jones. I'm sorry, Judge. Judge is still the coach, and then they have to bring in a new GM. It's going to depend if they flop because they thought it was Judge, or the offensive coordinator, or if it was just the talent. That's
isn't Judge. I know he's a special teams guy from New England, but isn't his background more in defense as opposed to
offense?
Really? Okay, so I'm mistaken.
Their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator is the boy genius. He's the one from Miami. He's the guy. They got him from Miami a couple of years ago. Patrick. What the hell's his last name? I can't remember now. Giants defensive coordinator. Let's see. Patrick Graham.
Okay, Brad, I hate he can't be a boy wonder genius if I've never heard of him in my life. I know everything about sports. I eat, breathe. So
they ended up getting him from Miami, and he turned a defense that was horrible 2 years ago into a.
Brian Flores is pulling the strings down there in Miami. He's the defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick.
Last year he was. The year before he wasn't. The Giants brought him over.
Stop. The head coach.
Patrick Graham is the one. Patrick Graham fixed the Giants' defense last year. Now, also Gettleman brought in a lot of good defensive players too in the offseason. But the Giants are very solid defensively. Plus, they're going to have.
I'm not disputing that at all.
They're going to have Xavier McKinney for the whole season, hopefully, this year, which should really help as well. So
you have James Bradbury and great players. A lot of players that I really like.
Leonard Williams might be the best nose tackle in the game right now.
What's the New York fan public perception of Daniel Jones, Joe Judge, and this Giants football team? Start with Daniel Jones. What do the fans think in New York of Daniel Jones? Not your opinion.
It's mixed.
But
it's a mixed bag. Some people think that he's going to be okay. Some people are not. Some people aren't crazy. Some people just want to wait and see. Yeah, a lot of people are taking a wait and see. I think Jones is going to be pretty good this year. I think that he's going to have a lot of talent now, and he's going to have people to throw to. I think what they'd be smart in doing to protect the offensive line, if that becomes a problem, is kind of playing offense the way the Pittsburgh Steelers did last year. Take 3-step drops and get the ball out quickly. Now you've got good receivers. There's no reason why you won't be able to do that. And then you've got.
So if I asked 100 New York Giants fans, is Daniel Jones a franchise quarterback? Do you think more of them would say yes, or more of them would say no?
Right now, he hasn't proven he can do that. I
understand, but what do the people think?
Most people think that he's got a lot of ability, but they also have to see it now. He's got no more excuses. He can't blame not having Saquon Barkley. He's got Saquon Barkley now. He's got two tight ends that are pretty good. He's got 4 good wide receivers he can throw the ball to. He's got his deep guys in Slayton and Tony, and he's got his possession guys in Galladay and Sterling Shepard. I mean, there's no more excuses now for him. If he doesn't cut it this year, okay, you can't. Then he obviously is going to be gone, and they'll have to get another quarterback. No more excuses. It's now put up or shut up for him. So we'll see what happens with him.
Okay, same question.
I think he's going to be okay. I do think a lot of it with him was that he just didn't have anybody to throw the ball to.
Okay, what about Joe Judge? What is the New York public sentiment on Joe Judge?
Everybody likes him.
Everybody likes him.
Yes, everybody likes him because he basically took a team that started out 0-5 and they finished 7-9. Okay, and they got a big win in Seattle and they played a lot better. They beat Washington. They were able to beat Washington.
They gave the Rams a run for their money as well. I think they were like 17-point dogs or something like that. They
should have beaten the Bears. That was a terrible loss. The only game they got smoked in was the Raven game. I mean, that was the only game really that they got their brains beaten. But the Ravens were better than them last year. I mean, they had no answer for Lamar. They had never played against a quarterback like that before, and I think they were totally off balance for that game. They had a terrible game plan. And that happens, but I'm not really concerned at all about their defense this year. I think the defense is going to be fine, and I think their offense is going to be a lot better.
And then, what is the sentiment? Like, where is this? Is your fan base expecting a division championship?
Yes.
So the expectations are it's playoffs or bust.
It's playoffs or Gettleman needs to get out of town. Period.
Okay.
No more excuses.
And Brad Ryer thinks the New York Giants are going to win the NFC East.
I think they'll win the NFC East. I just don't think the division's any good. Now, the Washington football team, I think that they're pretty good. Their defense is really good. But again, the Giants, for whatever reason, Daniel Jones sees the Washington football team, and for whatever reasons which are unknown to me, he sees that team and he plays like Tom Brady. I can't explain it, but it's weird. But there's always one guy. There's always one team that a quarterback seems to own, and Daniel Jones has absolutely owned the Washington football team. So you got to wonder. I think as I said, Daniel Jones can move around. He's a good runner. He's going to be able to scramble. He'll get them extra time in the pocket, and I think he's going to find some of these receivers. I would like to see them kind of get up there and get rid of the ball quick and play the same kind of offense Pittsburgh did last year. There's no reason if they play like that they can't score a lot of points, and they got the game breaker in Barkley. So that's what I'm expecting, and I'm expecting that. I'm not expecting them to be the best offense in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but I expect them to be in the top 15. And with their defense, that should be enough to get them to a division title.
Looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career or brokerage, contact Alan Foyd, eXp Realty, LLC, 302-682-8820. Tell him A2D Radio sent you. You can also reach him via email, alan.foy@exprealty.com. Let's get to the Eagles now, Brad, because the Eagles, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, they are my squad. I don't think, like I said before, I've gone from 3-4 wins, paper bag over my head, forget about this team, I'm playing golf on Sunday, to that 6-7 win range, which I don't think is that crazy of expectations. I look at some Eagles fans who think they're going to win double-digit wins, and I just laugh in their face. And then I think that, because, Brad, the fan base is split. Between the Carson people, like I was Team Carson, even though he frustrated me towards the end, and I thought the benching of him for the Saints game in favor of Jalen Hurts was totally justified.
Oh, I agree. I know I agree with that move, and I agree with them letting him go. I mean, it was he basically, he needed to change the scenery, and the Eagles needed a change in quarterback, and the Eagles needed a change in coach too. I mean, it was a two-way street with that. They both needed changes.
So the fan base is split. The Team Carson people like me think this team is going to stink. the people that hated Carson and thought he stunk, which Carson Wentz doesn't stink. He's going to prove that in Indianapolis, and all the Carson haters are going to be eating mad crow this offseason. I won't let them. I won't let any of the people that ran Carson Wentz out of this city forget it. Forget it ever.
Rob, Carson is in the same situation as Daniel Jones because this year he's got
Carson Wentz is a far superior quarterback talent than Daniel Jones. Far superior.
He wasn't last year. He was bad last year.
I can't dispute. But let's get off Carson for a second. Carson's not in the NFC East. It's an NFC East show.
Carson has the ability to be a franchise quarterback. If he can't,
no. Carson Wentz is a franchise quarterback. 1,000%.
He wasn't last year. He's got to bounce back.
He got in a funk and he couldn't get out of it.
Okay.
I don't think his coaching.
But he has no. It could have been coaching. He has no excuse.
It was definitely coaching because Doug was a dope, and that pains me to say because he gave us the only Super Bowl championship in our franchise's history. Probably the only Super Bowl I've ever seen in my lifetime. Doug Peters was the head coach, and he was a total.
You don't know that.
He was a total. No, nobody knows anything, Brad. But the team's a train wreck year after year. So I mean, I have to go with what my gut. That might be the only one I ever say.
Carson has no excuse this year. Just like Daniel Jones has no excuse.
He had a dope of a coach. He had no offensive support system. He had receivers who were no better than me or you standing out there trying to catch the ball. Doug refused to run the ball. Doug refused to run 12 personnel to optimize his offensive talent. So, I mean, we can go down the Carson rabbit hole. We can talk the whole rest of the 2 hours about Carson Wentz.
He's got Frank Reich now back. So that should help. I mean,
he's more of an X and O football guy. But my point being is the people that hated Carson Wentz, they think the team is going to be great because Jalen Hurts is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I can't agree with that.
I think that
right now anyway. He's got a lot to prove, and I think the reason that Howie got 3 first-round picks is to make sure that if he's not the answer, then. I have a visitor in here. If he's not the answer, then unfortunately he can find himself a quarterback in next season's draft. He'll have 3 shots at a quarterback next year.
Correct. Now, I think that this team has pieces, Brad, that can be that I like, that are good. Darius Slay is an excellent football player. Anthony Harris, safety from Minnesota, a great addition. I think this team's defensive line. I think this team's defensive line, albeit aging, can still get after the quarterback.
Can they do it for 17 weeks though?
Well, we'll see. This is why I'm saying at 6 to 7 and not at 10 to 12 because there's question marks. I think the Eagles' offensive line is pretty good. I think Lane Johnson, Brooks, Kelsey,
Johnson.
Yeah, Lane Johnson, Brooks, Kelsey, and then you have Dillard, Mailata, Seumalo. They'll figure out that left side. I think that's an above-average offensive line.
It is. The only problem is that, again, you're talking about players that are over 30 in a 17-game schedule. That's going to be tough.
Well, the Eagles are old. They're going to be old this season. But like you pointed out, they're probably going to have 3 first-round picks next year. That's how you get younger.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Carson's going to be good enough for you guys to get a first-round pick. I can't imagine with him being on the Colts. I can't imagine he's not going to play well with the Colts. I think he'll come back and be maybe not as good as he was the year they won the Super Bowl, but he'll be somewhere in between. He'll be a very efficient quarterback there.
Now you have 2 great tight ends. And you have a coach in Nick Sirianni who's a good enough X and O football coach. Doug Peterson was not an X and O football coach.
No.
He was a player's coach. The players liked him, and the players sold out for him. And don't get me wrong, there's something to be said about that. But if you're not an X and O guy as an NFL head coach, it's going to catch up with you. And that's what happened to Doug Peterson here. And he was too stubborn to change. He was too stubborn to change his coaching staff, and he couldn't develop Carson. So he had to go. I think that Nick Sirianni is going to be a fantastic X and O coach. I think he's going to be able to get Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert on the field at the same time.
Here's my question to you. Is Zach Ertz going to be an Eagle?
Well, Zach Ertz is here, Brad. Camp's a week away. We just talked about it.
No,
Zach
I know,
Ertz is here.
Because all I've heard all off season is that he's going to go.
I'm surprised he's still here. I'm surprised I think he's a far superior football player than Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is overrated by this fan base.
He's gotten a lot of unnecessary grief, in my opinion, Ertz. I
got on him a lot, but I'm going to forgive him, and I'm going to hope he has a good season because he is on this football team.
And he certainly has the ability.
But his behavior last year, I'll never forget how he behaved last year.
Okay, but you know what? New season, let's go.
New season, let's wipe it clean. Zach Ertz is on this team. Dallas Goedert's on this team. I think you have a smart X and O football coach in Nick Sirianni that's going to be able to get him on the field at the same time, be able to get him the ball in optimal situations, and ultimately that's going to help your young quarterback in Jalen Hurts.
Is Miles Sanders going to finally live up to his?
No, I think Miles Sanders is overrated. I've said it on this program and other programs and on my Facebook and social media accounts to Kingdom Come. I think Miles Sanders is overrated by this fan base because he's one of our own and he went to Penn State. And there's a huge contingent of Penn State nutcases in the Delaware Valley who overrate their own more than anybody else in the entire world. So but what I will say about Miles Sanders is going to get a lot of opportunity because one thing that I really like about Nick Sirianni, along with being able to run 12 personnel effectively, something Doug never did, he's also going to commit to the running game. Doug when the Eagles are going to run the football next year.
Rob, you guys are going to be running the ball a lot next year.
Brad, I think that's going to go a long way to keeping our aging offensive line talented, but aging offensive line healthy. It's much easier to just go ahead and smack somebody than it is to drop back and shuffle and
absolutely. That's the whole thing.
Think about it, Brad. Pass blocking, your first move is backwards.
No, I know. No, I absolutely. That's why I was trying to make the same point about Daniel Jones because now he's got Barkley. They can have a pretty solid running game now. I mean, it took a while. Goldman came around late in the season and played pretty well, but I mean, he's still not Barkley. He can't catch. He didn't catch the ball, which is why, by the way, he's not a Giant. I mean, it's the same thing now. As far as your coach goes. Okay.
I like him. I think he's going to do well. And everybody wants to get on him because he's kind of a nerd and he's not that great talking to the media. Who cares? Doug was a boob. Doug was a boob talking to the media. He sounded like an idiot up there every single press conference.
Listen,
and he won a Super Bowl.
Rob, was Bill Parcells very good with the media?
Yeah, but he was a crumb by design. So was Belichick.
Yeah, both of them with the media. Were they good with the media? No.
Yeah, Doug and Nick Sirianni aren't capable public speakers.
Yeah, well, they Tortorella the media every chance they got.
Yeah, but Doug was just a dope. He didn't Tortorella anything.
Oh, okay. Well, if Bill didn't like the question, or
you would ask Doug a basic question about what happened in the game, and he would have no answer.
That's a stupid question. Let's go to the next question. Belichick would do the same. A lot of the good coaches, when somebody says something stupid, they just go to the next guy. They just like, get out of here. And you know what? It doesn't matter how this guy handles the press. If his team comes out on Sunday and performs well, and I think if the Eagles are very, very competitive, okay, and they just don't have the talent to win, I think the fans will be accepting of that. I think if they're not competitive, that's when that could be a problem. But they come out fired up and they just can't seem to win a game because something bizarre keeps happening to them. I mean, you hope that doesn't happen.
No, but he gets. Look, if the bottom falls out this year and they're 4-13 or however the math works out with the 17-game schedule, I'm not a math guy. He's going to get a pass because you're going to get 3 first-round picks, and if they're that bad, which I hope they're not that bad.
I don't think they're going to be that bad. I think for the most part they're going to be competitive. What I would be worried about if I was a member of the Eagles fan base, is that there's a lot of age on this team, and I just don't know.
There's a lot of flaws on this football team, and the flaws of I just talked about everything I liked about the Eagles very fairly. And the last thing I want to talk about, good, Devontae Smith, love him. I thought Jalen Waddle was a better pick than Devontae Smith at the draft. I'd like to take that back. I'm so happy we have Devontae Smith on the Philadelphia Eagles and not Jalen Waddle. It excites me. I think so many times, and it goes to New York too, these general managers of these teams, they live in their bubble and they don't take in outside factors. Not everyone can play in New York. Not everybody gets it. Not everyone gets
Not everybody can play in Philly either. Listen,
but it's the same thing. The Northeast, the Bostons, the New Yorks.
Yeah, exactly.
Mets, Phillies.
City Empire Sports wants to know, what about Joe Judge and the media? I think we saw Joe Judge with the media last year. I think he handled it fine. I think he gave everybody pretty good answers. But again, who cares what he does with the media? You know what? It doesn't matter.
If you win football games, you're going to sound smart in your press conference. If you lose football games, you're going to sound dumb in your press conference. It's just the way it is.
If you're a Giant fan, okay, all you care about is you went from 4-12 to 7-9, and you look damn good in the second half of the season, and you beat a couple of playoff teams.
Which I don't think they're going to do, because I think Daniel Jones thinks. But what these GMs in these major markets don't do is take into account the intangible factor of being able to play in a major market. The Sixers ruined the process by not doing their homework on that. Markelle Fultz couldn't play in Philadelphia, couldn't take it. Jahlil Okafor couldn't play, period. That was just a miss. I'm sure you could list a whole bunch of New York players that just folded.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely.
Look at the Yankees. Randy Johnson came to the Yankees. He forgot how to pitch. He's one of the best left-handed pitchers of all time.
He was 100 years old by the time he got to the Yankees, though.
But what I think Devontae Smith, I think he gets it. I think playing at Alabama.
I think Alabama players, period. If you can handle playing in Alabama, I think you could play anywhere.
I think that's a great point. I think he's going to get
Philly.
Philly.
When it comes to college football, Alabama's fans are really tough.
They're psychos. So I think he's going to get
so
Philly.
So are LSU's players.
All those teams are psycho.
The Southeast Conference, those fans are tough. I mean, they don't let anybody off the hook. They don't care that they're kids. They treat them like they're 10-year NFL veterans, and they expect to win championships all the time. Especially in Alabama, those fans are nasty. So,
but you get to the Eagles' weaknesses, and this is why it's hard for me to get excited and predict something crazy like a division championship. Is their weaknesses are weaknesses by a country mile. Their weaknesses are so big you can drive semi-trucks through them. Number one is the
linebackers. Their linebackers are
they don't have a linebacker in sight.
No,
while I like Darius Slay and Anthony Harris from Minnesota.
I think Slay is still good, Rob, but he's not what he was in Detroit. He's past his prime.
Well, no, he's past his prime, and that's fine. He was actually pretty good last year. He just got he got roasted by DK Metcalf on Monday Night Football, and everybody freaked out. But everyone was getting torched by DK Metcalf last year.
Don't blame him for that. Everybody seemed to have roasted him. I mean, that's just part of the game. I mean, he really didn't have much of a chance.
Who's playing linebacker? They don't have one linebacker on this team that can competently play in the NFL. Not one.
No, and that's a problem. That's why teams. I think a team that likes to throw quick passes over the middle. I think teams like that against the Eagles will move the ball and score a lot of points.
Gavon, thanks for the tip. Hurts or Jones. We'll get to that in a second after I go over the Eagles' weaknesses. Safety ops hours. Who is it? I don't know who it's going to be. Hopefully it's K'Von Wallace because I like him. Nickel corner. I have no idea. That's a huge position in today's NFL. A slot receiver can just death by 1,000 cuts. So you get to that. Left tackle is a concern. The most important position on the offensive line. That's a concern. I like Devontae Smith, but I have no because Jalen Reagor doesn't get it. He doesn't understand why the fans are criticizing him after he did nothing in his rookie year. He doesn't get it.
I
He
think
didn't perform. He didn't do his job. The fans don't like that.
The problem
he's like aloof to it.
You've got between him, between Rager, Smith, and Fulgham. Is that his name? That guy Fulgham?
Yeah, Travis Fulgham.
Yeah. Between the three of them, the problem is one of them has to step up and be really good. Somebody's got to step up amongst those three. And they're going to need that. And they're also going to need to be able to run the ball so the kid quarterback doesn't get in the way and kill the team.
Which brings us to the quarterback, Brad. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback.
But again, we got to give him a season to try.
Absolutely.
You have to let him try. I mean,
unless Brad Ryer, Deshaun Watson becomes a Philadelphia Eagle.
I don't think that's going to be this year, though.
You might be right. You might be right about that.
That could happen. The Eagles would be in a prime position.
Well, you have the three. Picks.
I don't know that he's even going to be able to play this year. To be honest with you, I mean,
I don't think he's going to play for the Houston Texans. It wouldn't surprise me if something were to transpire where he plays somewhere else.
I think he's going to get suspended. I think he's going to miss a lot of games.
I think you're right about that. So maybe that's down the line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why. I mean, if you're the Eagles, you don't want to do that.
I'm not trading for him. I'm not. But if it comes out tomorrow that this was all farce or some settlement was reached, and this is all gone, after I see what the NFL is going to do to him, and it's within reason, I have 3 first-round picks. I have a bunch of picks. I have Jalen Hurts. I have Zach Ertz. I have all this capital to go get me a franchise quarterback that's in his prime.
Next season, when your salary cap situation is back in line again, because honestly, this year your salary cap situation is kind of not really allowed you guys to improve your football team all that much. I mean, you did what you could with the draft. I thought you guys had a pretty good draft, and you picked up guys who you were able to pick up in spite of the fact that you really didn't have a lot of cash to work with. I think it would be a better idea for the Eagles if they tried to get him next season.
You might be right.
I think so, because first of all, your next season you're going to have half these guys that you have on this team right now aren't going to be here next season. So you might as well next season you kind of start fresh. Salah is that what's his name?
What, Sirianni? Nick Sirianni?
Okay, yeah, Salah's the Jets coach. I'm sorry. Sirianni is basically going to weed out the guys he doesn't like. And if the quarterback fails this year, which he might, and maybe he won't, but if he fails, the Eagles have enough draft equity to go out and make a trade like that.
Now, there's also reports. This is the last rumor I'm going to address. We're going to get our early predictions on how the division is going to finish, and then it's going to be comments. And maybe we'll get to some baseball and some hockey later on the show, because there's stuff happening all over the place in those sports as well. Xavier Howard probably should have been the defensive player of the year last year, an outstanding quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. He's disgruntled. There's rumors he wants out. Again, the Eagles have a lot of draft capital and Zach Ertz to, maybe make something happen and cover up one of those gaping holes next to Darius Slay. So if the Eagles trade Zach Ertz and a second-round pick, or Dallas Goedert and a second-round pick, which is my preferred package, and get Xavier Howard in here, does that change your opinion on the NFC East? Because I think that a trade like that might add a couple wins to the season. Xavier Howard's excellent. You got to have a good secondary in today's NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And we've talked ad nauseum about how I think the Cowboys are overwhelming favorites, but I can certainly see the argument that no team is good enough to be an overwhelming favorite in this weakened division. But
yeah, well, right now you'd have to. Right now, I don't know if the Eagles, they had draft capital. I don't know if they could fit this guy into the cap. I don't know why he's disgruntled. Is it the money? Does he not like the team? Does he not like the coaching?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think if you're the Eagles, you want to be careful. I know you got draft equity. You want to make sure that you get the right guy. Why is he upset? Why is he upset with Miami? Miami almost made the playoffs last year, and they were probably the most improved team in the NFL last year. So what was he so upset about?
I don't know. It's a good point.
Usually when guys are disgruntled, unless you're a little diva like Aaron Rodgers, most guys that are disgruntled are on bad teams, that are losing, and they're good players stuck on bad teams, and that's why
I'm so sick of Aaron Rodgers. So sick of Aaron Rodgers. I hope he falls flat on his face this year.
Yeah, he's really he's become such a putz. It's hard to root for him anymore.
And I was never that. Like, he was always good. I admire his talent, but like, he's not this likable guy that I'm going to go out of my way to be a fan of.
No, not anymore. He's just gotten his behavior has gotten more and more bizarre. There's something not quite right with him.
All right, so now we're gonna get to everyone's comments. They're flying in. How do you see this division shaking out?
Well, as I said, Giants first. Okay, Dallas second. No, I'm sorry, Washington second. Dallas third. Eagles fourth. But as I said, I think everybody finishes one game apart. So 10 wins for the Giants, 9 wins for the Washington football team, 8 wins for the Cowboys, 7 wins for the Eagles. And I think it's going to be a very competitive division. I don't think these teams are separated by all that much. I think one injury or one key acquisition could make the difference. So, we'll see. Washington as a defensive line, their defensive line is by far the best in the division. I don't think there can be any question about that. I think the Giants have the best secondary in the division. Dallas has the best offense in the division. The Eagles have a lot of young players. We'll see what happens. If the Eagles stay healthy, they can be a factor, but they have to stay healthy. And I just don't know when you've got as many players north of 30 as they do. I don't know if they can stay healthy. 17 games is a lot of games. If it was a 14-game schedule, like back in the old days, or a 16-game schedule, but 17 games is a lot of games. So, we'll see. We'll see. By the way, who do the Eagles draw as the 17th game?
The Jets.
The Jets?
Yes.
Okay. That probably is a win.
And I believe that football game is at home.
Yeah, that should be.
I hope that's a win.
I know the Giants got one heck of a tough customer in the Miami Dolphins. That's not going to be easy for them.
Right, because the Giants finished second, right? So I think we play like the 17th game is the first place team. So Washington, they get a tough draw, so they play the Bills. And it's like division versus division.
Okay, got it. So the Giants. So
I think that I'm pretty sure that's how they did it.
Yeah, Washington plays the Bills, and that'll be a loss for them. The Giants.
Yeah, and Dallas would get.
I get it, and Dallas plays.
Get New England, I suppose.
England. Yeah, I would. Yeah, if you're probably right. So that's probably
all right. So I think the Cowboys win it. I think they get to 11. I think Washington wins 8 or 9. And then I have the Eagles and the Giants in a dead heat for last. I think Daniel Jones stinks, Brad. Sorry.
That's okay. He hasn't proven it yet, but he will. I think he showed me a lot that first season. The second half of the season last year, thought he showed me a lot after he came back from his injury. I think he's going to be okay. I just don't think he had nobody to throw to last year. Who was he throwing to? Golden Tate? Terrible. Sterling Shepard was out half the season. Slayton was playing with a sprained ankle the whole season. He just, and Evan Ingram kept dropping the ball on him. He didn't have the weapons last year, and Barkley got hurt. So their best offensive weapon really was handing the ball off to Wayne Gallman. Really, we need to see him now with some players and see how he plays. If he can't handle it now, then he's gone. And obviously, not only is he gone, the GM's going to be gone.
Don't forget, we here at A2D Radio, we're interesting A2D memberships for $9.99 a month. You get some amazing perks, including shout-outs, members-only shows, appearances, and weekly picks from the Money Pot podcast. which are on fire, by the way. They swept the UFC card on Saturday night. They had Phillies winners. They have baseball winners. They have, you know what, come football season, they're going to have football winners too. They know what they're doing. Become an A2D member, $9.99 a month. It's no money. You win it back with the picks because they're fire. Chris Garland, if every team's healthy, it's the Cowboys division. I completely agree. I think the Cowboys are overwhelming favorites. I really do. They're the only team in the division with a franchise quarterback. So that's my logic, and I'm sticking to it until I change my mind.
Well, you're allowed.
Roska's in the house.
If you think that, then maybe that could be true. I just don't know with Dak. To me, Dak looks like he's still hurt. Okay, I
know, but he doesn't have to play a game for 2 months, Brad. I think you're not. 2 months is a lot of time.
I know, but that was a real bad injury, though. So,
okay.
I mean, listen, again, I don't think they've done that much defensively to help themselves either, the Cowboys. So I think that
they can't be worse. It's just like the division can't be worse. The Dallas Cowboys defense can't be worse. They were the worst defense in the history of the league last year.
No, the 66 Giants were the worst defense in the history of the league.
Well, geez Louise, you're going to say something that 25 years before I was even born?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, they gave up 500 points in 14 games.
All right, you got me there. Roska's in the house. He's watching the hockey on YouTube. Roska, Jake Friel does a great job here at A2D Radio. The Cowboys are usually a better team on paper, but usually never takes them far. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Cowboys are always the darlings. Everyone always thinks that the Cowboys are going to win the division, and they always usually fall short. Yeah,
something weird always seems to happen to them.
And I love it year after year. I'm sitting here saying they're overwhelming favorites, but that doesn't mean I'm a Cowboys fan. That doesn't mean I'm rooting for them. That doesn't mean I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them in Week 3 against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. It's not, because I come on this program and I keep it real all day long, because that's my duty to the fans of A2D Radio.
Yeah, I personally hate the Cowboys. They would be my most hated football team. In sports, they would be the third most hated team behind the Boston Red Sox and the New York Mets.
Molly Mall's in the house, checking out on YouTube. He is an A2D subscriber, so he's cashing in on those picks from the Money Pal podcast. He's getting shout-outs. He's getting discounted merchandise. $9.99 a month, guys. It's a no-brainer. Our defense will be better because going back to a base 4-3, not that dumbass 3-4 wideout. So it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Molly Mall, you're a Cowboys fan. And yes, that could be a huge deal. Playing the 4-3 with those 3 linebackers instead of having 4 linebackers. That's why they don't have Alden Smith anymore, Brad. Because they're schematically different.
No, I understand that, but are they better? How much better are they going to be? I don't know. I mean,
they can't be worse. That's my take. My take is the Cowboys defense can't be worse than last year. Same thing up in Minnesota when we talk about the NFC North. That defense was dreadful last year with a good offense. I think the Vikings are primed for an excellent season this year.
I do too, and I think Kirk Cousins really got a raw deal because I thought he played real well last year. And I think that the Vikings defense completely betrayed him. Completely. So, I mean, at this point, I think we can all agree that there is not going to be a wild card team in the NFC East. If you want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to win it.
No, unless something extremely, extremely goofy happens where 2 or 3 teams that we don't think are going to be any good are really good.
Yeah, I think you're going to have You're going to have 2 teams, 2 wild card teams in the West. I think the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. I think that the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs, and I think the Rams are going to make the playoffs.
I don't know about Seattle this year.
I think they'll find a way.
I know they have Russell Wilson, and that sounds like weird here on July 19th, but I think as we start to peel back the onion here on the Sports Hounds and look at all these divisions and look at how competitive this wild card race is going to be in the NFC, I think Seattle might be on the outside looking in. Because I totally agree with you with the Niners. The Niners they're coming.
The Niners are going to come back. The whole team was hurt last year. I mean,
I don't care who their quarterback is either.
Yeah, they had an unruly amount of injuries last year. Then you've got the division with Atlanta and the Saints and Tampa Bay and Carolina, and I think obviously Tampa Bay makes the playoffs.
I love Carolina this year. They're my surprise. They're my surprise team.
Yeah, you know what? I think somehow the Saints are going to be there too. I think they'll make a wild card.
That's like your Tampa Bay Lightning of the NFL, Brad.
Well, no, I don't think they. I don't. It's a little different with the Saints. The Saints haven't won it, and they have a new quarterback.
Yeah, but you pick them every year.
Yes, I do. I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl this year, though. That I can't sit here and explain that away. I told you last year I was, before I started picking the Lightning every year, I was also on the Sharks every year, and they tended to disappoint. But I wasn't wrong about the Lightning. Speaking of hockey, okay.
Hold on. We got to get through comments.
Bob
Brinkman, Cowboys still have many questions. Coaches sub at QB is coming off serious injury. Plus, they will turn on each other quickly. Yeah, they have a reputation for a toxic environment. That's 1,000% true. Here's a good one. Sean Patrick. Thomas Arnone, can you fire Brinkman already? Or at least put him in a clown outfit? Dude's got like the worst sports takes I've ever heard! ! You know what, Sean? I don't know if we're friends on social media.
Here's
what Sean could do.
And get yourself a show.
Here's what Sean he can do that. But this shit ain't free. This is a real company with real talent. And it's with real overhead, and this shit costs money. So what I'm gonna do for Sean and anyone out there who thinks I'm a clown, you find me on Twitter at BrinksTheMan15. You find me on Facebook. You drop in my DMs. You send me your email address. You come on and debate me next week at whatever sports topic you want. Sixers, we all know how I feel about the Sixers and how I can't stand them and I hate them right now. And guess what, Sixers fans? You're not getting Dame Lillard. Get it out of your mind. I love all these Sixers fans. So cute. Oh, we're getting Dame Lillard. Now we're going to win the championship. Dame Lillard ain't coming here. For Ben Simmons, for damaged goods like Ben Simmons is like for you single people on dating apps. Ben Simmons is like when you match with a hot girl and then find out she's got 2 kids with 2 different dudes. He's damaged goods.
That's pretty.
You pass.
You know what? That's a pretty accurate statement.
You pass. You're not getting Dame Lillard in any type of trade for Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons is a stiff and he's a loser, and the Sixers stink and they're losers. So for all those people like Sean who think that I'm a clown and I have bad sports takes, you drop my DMs, you send me your email, we'll set it all up with Frank, and you come on, you debate me, you pick the topic. You don't even have to tell me the topic is beforehand. So that's what people like Sean and all my haters out there can do. And it's not for free too, because this show costs money because A2D Radio is a real company. I see crumbs out there who say we're not a real company and we don't have real talent. We are a real company. We do have real content. We have sponsorship dollars. We have ownership, an ownership group. We have a membership club. So we got it all here at A2D Radio. So if you want to come on A2D Radio and debate me, Prism 280, you can come on whenever you want, brother. You're the man. We love Prism.
Wants to talk.
I'm talking about haters of A2D Radio and haters of me. You send me your email, and you're gonna join the show with me and Brad, and we're gonna have the sports debate.
Prism, you're
gonna get schooled.
If you want to talk about crickets, okay? If we started talking about cricket on this show, we would be crickets. Rose Windsor, another great fan of A2D Radio, another insider. Agree to the poll. I think the Cowboys are favorites, but will disappoint their fans again. John Burke, Giants O-line is awful. Brad, I'll let you speak to that. Oh, I don't disagree, but they did improve a lot in the second half of the season. So we'll see what happens. I think the Giants' offensive line is going to be a lot better than most people think it is.
Mike DeAndre, nobody fears Dallas. It's fair.
That's a fair comment.
I wouldn't be scared of them. No, but I do think they're going to win this division by a few games. I think they get to 10 or 11 wins because I think they're just better than the rest of the teams in the division. Prism 2, the Alas Cowboys will scare someone when they prove they got a D. They seem to be lost there. Yeah, their defense was bad last year. One of the worst in the history of the game. It can't be worse, can it? Molly Mall, Smith disappeared last year. What are you talking about? A lot of empty sacks for Aldon Smith last year, Brad. Brendan Casey, Dallas 10-7, Giants 9-8, Washington 8-9, Eagles 6-11. That's kind of different order, but that's kind of the win projections that you had for the first, second, third, and fourth place teams.
Yeah, pretty close. Except I had everybody one game apart.
TJ the Voice checking us out on YouTube. The Cowboys D doesn't need to be top 10, just better than last year. Yes, and that's why I think they're overwhelming favorites to win the East. If they have a top 20 defense, I think they win 10, 11 games and win this division by a few games.
I don't think they're even going to be that good, but we'll see. I could be wrong. I don't think so. I think their defense hasn't really done that much to help themselves right now.
Brendan Casey here, probably with the comment of the night. Washington's defense is legit. Peyton Manning sucked and won a Super Bowl behind Denver's stud defense.
Yes, he did.
That's probably the most valid counter argument I've heard.
Look at the 2000 Ravens.
See, look, why can't people be like Brendan? Okay, you disagree with Brinkman. Bring a counterpoint. Let's have a debate. Let's talk about it. It's agree to disagree radio for a reason. Well, you know, stupid. You said, you should fire Brinkman because I don't agree with them and I don't blow smoke up all the Philadelphia team's asses because I've liked them since I was yay high. Give me a fucking break. Such babies. Can't take the heat. You get out of the kitchen. And I would love it. And I have names in my mind that I hope DM me and come on this program and attempt to debate me at sports. Because you're going to get schooled. You're going to get your heads clumped together like Larry Moe and Curly and the Three Stooges. Because I'll play for keeps that day. Me and Brad disagree, and it's fun because we're friends. Me and Tom Arnone disagree, and it's fun because we're friends. Me and Brian Wilson, anyone here at ATD Radio, we disagree. We scream at each other, we yell at each other, and it's fun because they know what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I have my points. I have my hills they stand on. They have their hills they stand on, and it's fun. That's why everyone listens.
We're all stubborn, and you're not going to change our minds. So it is what.
And I especially hope the losers that think A2D Radio is a bunch of frauds and not a real company DM me because I'll crack them over the head even harder than I will than the people that think I'm a clown. Now I'm all worked up and I'm never going to get to sleep tonight. I'm going to be too tired of work tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
Tony G was blocked for 5 minutes. Look at Frank. Frank is cracking skulls tonight, too, throwing people out of the chat for 5 minutes. Bryce Blackwell. Bryce, what's up, buddy? He's ready for football season. Yeah, Prison 280. We're good. We're good. And Prison 280, he's a subscriber. He gets the picks. He gets the shout outs. He gets the exclusive shows because he's an A2D member for $9.99 a month.
Prison, by the way, Prism basically, I think, Prism, are you still friends with who was it that they had on the Hockey Happy Hour?
Who? Pronger?
Pronger, yeah. Prism, I think Prism and Pronger were having a private conversation on the air, basically, in that show. Great show. If you guys don't watch Hockey Happy Hour or listen to it, Rob, when are they on?
Sometimes they're on Tuesdays, sometimes they're on Thursdays.
Yeah,
Frank will flash it up on the screen.
If you're a hockey fan,
it's usually Thursdays at 10, but I know they switch on Tuesdays sometimes because of the finals. And we're gonna get the hockey because the Flyers made a big trade. We got the expansion draft, and
I love that trade for the Flyers. You guys really, really did a nice job.
Greg Milakovic disagrees with the poll. I don't think there's an overwhelming favorite in the NFC East. The Blue City Empire Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Checking us out on YouTube. A lot of non-Giants fans and sports media are saying the Giants got to steal and a stud in wide receiver Kadarius Toney. I mean, okay. Look, I watch a lot of sports. I watch a lot of college football.
Rob,
I don't think Kadarius.
A lot of us didn't like that pick. I like the pick because I think the Giants really needed burner speed, and I think that guy can get it for us. And I think he can play running back. He can also play wide receiver. He can play in the slot. I mean, I think he's the kind of guy that's really going to help us. It's up to Joe Judge to coach him up and be a real good player.
I don't disagree that it addresses a need for the New York Giants. But I just don't know if it was. First off, I thought there were better receivers on the board.
Listen, you can make the argument.
And I thought I think they kind of got caught with their pants down when the Eagles and Dallas made that trade. I thought they were sized up to pick Devontae Smith.
Well, I think they were ready to pick Devontae Smith, and they weren't able to. And I think they wanted a fast receiver, and they decided come hell or high water, they were going to get a fast receiver.
They did get extra draft capital, so I can't totally bury the pick.
You can't be upset at the fact that they traded back and they got a first-round pick next year. And the Bears, I mean, look, I'm not going to say that Fields isn't going to be a good quarterback. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback.
I love Justin Fields.
I
love Justin Fields.
But he's going to be a rookie quarterback next year. And rookie quarterbacks very rarely win more than 6 to 7 games.
He'll be starting. Well, he's not. He won't start until week 6 or 7. I think. The Bears are going to be right on the edge. I could see like 6-11, 7-10, something like that. So I mean, the Giants are probably going to end up getting like the 10th pick in the draft by making that move. I don't know. We'll have to see when we dive into the NFC North. Maybe we'll do the NFC North next week. I don't know.
Yeah, we can.
Jay Koch, Giants QB, is do, and Dallas QB is going to be scared with his ankle, so he doesn't like Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott.
Well, who does he like?
Jay Koch. Some of these guys they don't like. I'm not talking about Jay specifically. Some people just don't like anything or anyone, Brad.
Yeah,
they're just crumbs.
Okay, so I mean, listen, and I'm not putting Daniel Jones next to Tom Brady. Okay, I'm not saying he's as good as Eli Manning either in his prime. I'm not saying that. I do think he's got the ability. I mean, I've seen him show flashes of being a very, very good quarterback. I've also seen flashes of him just being a bonehead, and I'm hoping that that's not the case this year. But we have to let the season play out. And the Giants have made a lot of moves, and they're giving the kid one more year to see if we can win this division. It's not a very good division. It won't take a heck of a lot of wins to win this division. You're not going to have to win 13, 14 games to win out of the division.
Kiaz215, also a subscriber. Who do you think will be the best rookie QB out of this draft? I mean, Sunshine Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville. He's going to start from day one. He's got all the tools. I think him and Urban Meyer are going to work down there. I think they're going to mesh very well. And they actually have offensive talent there in Jacksonville, Brad. So that's my answer, Trevor Lawrence.
Speaking of Jacksonville, I want to talk about real quick an ex-Jacksonville player who's really turning out to be a punk. That's Jalen Ramsey, knocking Tom Coughlin. I got 2 words for you, Jalen, okay? 2 Super Bowls, okay? How many do you have?
I love Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey is
I love that guy. He talks all this shit and goes out on Sunday, and all he does is back it up. He's by far the best corner in the league.
Yeah, how many championships has he won?
Let's see how this season shakes out, because I think the Rams are going to be a deadly force with Matthew Stafford at quarterback.
They just might be, but again, how many championships have they won?
Okay, but a cornerback isn't going to win it. He was on the Jaguars.
He's got Aaron Donald too.
Okay, defensive tackles don't win Super Bowls.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're talking about
that's
him,
right. They have Aaron Donald too. So the Rams have Matthew Stafford, a great quarterback now, and they have the 2 best defensive players in the league. They're going to be scary good.
Yeah,
in my opinion, at least.
They're pretty good. They're gonna make the playoffs. I don't think there's any question about that. But again, Jalen Ramsey needs to shut up, because you know what? You can't go criticizing Tom Coughlin. That's just silly. Tom Coughlin, by the way, coached the Jacksonville Jaguars into the only championship appearance. No, they had one more. I forgot when they lost to New England. But he coached them when they first came into the league, and he brought them all the way to two championship games as an expansion team. So you know what? And then he won 2 championships with the Giants. Jalen, get to a championship game. Okay, I'm not even asking you to win a Super Bowl.
He was on the Jaguars championship team.
The Jaguars never won a championship.
They didn't win the championship. They went to the AFC championship game.
Well, okay. How about getting a championship win? Okay.
Blue Empire Sport.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Rob. Okay. How many points did the Jaguars give up that game to the Steelers? I believe they won 45-42.
It was a high-scoring game. Yes.
45. Yeah, it was 45-42.
Well, they beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and then they almost beat New England in Foxborough.
True. But they did pretty well with their defense throughout the season. The playoffs, their defense didn't show up. I mean, had their defense
you're playing.
Yeah, but had their defense showed up against New England, I mean, they let Brady come back and win that game. They had New England dead. I mean, they stopped running Fournette and decided to start throwing the ball all over the place instead of just keep giving the ball to Fournette. If I remember correctly, Fournette had a monster game that week.
Blue Empire Sports. Eagles fans hated Jalen Hurts, and all of a sudden Eagles fans are now saying he's the next big thing. I hated the pick of Jalen Hurts in the second round when he already had a franchise quarterback, $100 million franchise quarterback in Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the next big thing. People who think Jalen Hurts is the next big thing are just so blinded by their hate for Carson Wentz that they just don't think logically and clearly and don't see what's right in front of their face. That's all that is.
Listen, they're just being fans. So don't get yourself real upset about stuff like that. They're fans. They're going to support their players. That's what they do down in Philadelphia. Okay, they support their players, whether they're good or not. Even they overrate their players just like we overrate our players. Okay, I mean, we got plenty of players who on the Giants who we tend to overrate. Okay, so get over it. We're all the same when it comes to that. Okay, you can't sit here and say that the Eagles are overrating. I mean, I could sit here and tell you all day my favorite tight end, Evan Ingram, who I can't stand, by the way. He's the most overrated player in the NFL. I think the guy stinks. How many times did I just bury him last season?
A lot. And I don't understand how anyone could. He's not that good.
He's a bum. He is. You know what he is. Let me explain to you exactly what he is. He is the football edition in New York of Giancarlo Stanton. Okay, Giancarlo Stanton is the man who, when the Yankees are up by 10 runs, hits a 2-run home run. Okay, or when they're down by 10 runs, he hits a home run. Okay, but when the chips are on the line, Giancarlo Stanton strikes out, and when the chips are on the line for the Giants, Evan Ingram drops the goddamn ball every time. Remember the Eagle game?
Yeah, they had him beat. All he had to do was make one catch.
He had the ball and he dropped it. If he catches the ball, Daniel Jones squats down 4 times, and guess what? Giants would have made the playoffs because that would have made them 8-8, and they won the tiebreak. They would have had the tiebreakers against the Redskins. So you know what? We overrate our guys too, and then we're voting him to the Pro Bowl. Come on.
Prism 280. How many carries do you think Kerryon Johnson will average per game as the number 2 running back?
5 to 10.
I think it's going to be more than that because I think this is going to be a very this pass heavy Andy Reid, Doug Peterson nonsense that we've been watching. This team's going to run the football, and I'm on record.
Sanders is going to get probably between 15 and 20.
Okay, but if Miles Sanders dances and fumble. If Miles Sanders starts fumbling the football, he's going to be on the bench. Miles Sanders would fumble the football under Doug, and Doug would just throw the ball.
Yeah,
Nick Sirianni's not going to abandon the run because Miles Sanders stinks and can't hold on to the football. He's going to put one of these other running backs in, and he's going to continue to run the ball if he's as smart as I think he is, and I think he's pretty smart.
That's kind of what That's kind of what happened with Joe Judge last year.
Because people are scared of change. They see Andy Reid. He won the Super Bowl, but he was a dope. He wasn't that good. I think Kerryon Johnson, average, I guess that's fair, 5 to 10. But I wouldn't put it past Kerryon Johnson having a couple, 80-plus yard games, a couple multi-touchdown games.
Listen, there may be a situation where he gets the hot hand. I do think that your coach is smart enough to give the ball to the hot hand. I think that's kind of what's going to happen. But I think when we first start, you're going to see Miles Sanders get the ball most likely between 15 and 20 times a game, in the first game. And I think you'll see him get the ball between 5 and 10 times. And again, the guy can also catch, so you might see him getting the ball in that way too on third down. I don't think you're going to see Sanders unless it's completely a running situation. And really, in the NFL, I don't think there's any such thing as a running situation anymore. Third and 1 used to be an automatic run. Now it's kind of like now it's 50-50.
Tommy Arnone's in the house. Did a great show with Ryan Brodo, Monday Morning Quarterback. A lot of fun NBA trade, fun scenarios. You can download that. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Takeover Talk. We're everywhere. He disagrees with the poll. This division will be close between all 4 teams. Jay Koch, I actually wanted Jalen Waddle over Devontae Smith. It's all good, though. Yeah, I thought that, too. But Devontae Smith, I already have his jersey. It's in my closet right over there. The white number 6. By the way, anyone who thinks the white jerseys aren't the best Eagles jersey needs to get a clue. Because they are. They're awesome. Love the whites. You got to be careful on game day because, if you're eating the wings and the hors d'oeuvres, you got to be careful with the white jersey, Brad. You got to be careful.
Yeah, I hear that.
I just think Devontae Smith is going to get Philly. And he always played his biggest games in the biggest spots down in Alabama. Waddle can play, though, from Bryce Bapple. Yeah, I think Waddle is good. Look, these receivers that come out, they just jump in and go. Unless you're Jalen Reagor, who can't figure out how to run a route and doesn't understand why everyone hates him. Everybody, look at him. Michael Pittman in Indianapolis, Chase Claypool in Pittsburgh, Justin Jefferson, Minnesota, Judy in Denver, CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. I expect Jamar Chase to be great in Cincinnati. I expect Waddle to be good, Devontae Smith to be good. Rashard Bateman is an interesting guy there, drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. These receivers, for whatever reason, there's not a learning curve. They just step in and go, except Jalen Reagor.
To be fair, though, Jalen Reagor did get hurt last year, which didn't help.
Go prove me wrong, Jalen. Go prove everybody wrong. You want people to sing your praises and be on your Twitter account telling you how great you are? Go be great. That's all. KJ Wright, not an option for the Eagles. I would love KJ Wright on the Philadelphia Eagles. They have no linebackers. Eagles lost to the Seattle Seahawks. Eagles lost to the Seahawks. Seahawks lost to the Giants. That doesn't mean anything. It's a week-to-week league. And the Eagles stunk last year. Jay Koch, Stingley, quarterback LSU will be nice next year if we don't grab a free agent. Yeah, they're going to have 3 first-round picks. Derek Stingley's a perennial All-American for the past 3 years at LSU. He would be a great pick. All right, let's move on. Because the Flyers, Mr. Chuck Fletcher, Brad, made a big move. He gets a puck-moving defenseman to play with Ivan Provorov. I presume he's going to play with Ivan Provorov. He could not, but they make.
I think he's going to be a top pairing defenseman. Ryan Ellis should be a top pairing defenseman on this team.
So Nolan Patrick, underachieving Nolan Patrick, he gets shipped out. Phil Myers, who actually
he actually gets traded twice.
He gets traded twice in a matter of 24 hours. And then, Nolan Patrick.
Myers was terrible. Myers was so bad, he was dragging Sanheim down with him.
Myers was awful last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But his suckiness actually brought Travis Sanheim's game down, I think, a peg or two. So to get Sanheim away from him is probably good. That's probably a good thing. And the Flyers do have some cap space. They're going to get another defenseman. They're not done. I don't think it's going to be Seth Jones, though. From what I understand, Seth Jones is the Columbus Blue Jackets have been insulted by the offers for Seth Jones. So I think
because they know he's not going to sign there.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I think at this point they might be better off just playing it out and waiting till the trade deadline, when everybody and their mother's going to be out there trying to get Seth Jones, and that probably would work better for them. So I think that's what's going to happen. See, hockey's a little different than baseball because rentals, you get a ton of stuff for rentals with hockey. You just can't do that in baseball, but you can in hockey. Those rentals can be very, very expensive on the trade market. You get all kinds of. I mean, listen, when the Rangers traded Kevin Hayes, to Winnipeg, they got a first round pick for him. Okay, and I didn't think they'd get a first rounder out of him. I thought it would be a second or a third. They got a first, and then they traded it back to Winnipeg for a Trouba. But speaking of the Rangers,
but how much better does this make the Flyers, though?
I think it's going to make them better. They couldn't have been worse defensively last year than they were. I think it'll lower their goals. I think he's the kind of guy that can help them lower their goals against by maybe 30 goals next year. He's a plus player. A couple of years ago, he was in the top 10 for the Norris. So he's definitely a quality defenseman. He's going to get a lot of assists. He can play the power play. He's good defensively. He blocks a lot of shots. Okay, he has a little mean streak in him, but he has a little mean streak, but he doesn't commit a lot of penalties, which is good. That's almost exactly what you want. So,
what's this going to do for a guy who we thought was the savior at the goaltender position, Carter Hart, who was terrible last year?
Well,
what does this do for that?
Sometimes a goalie is only as good as his defense. Sometimes I don't think the Flyers are done yet. I think the Flyers need to get another defenseman in there, and there are plenty of good quality defensemen that can be had this year. Another thing I would say is that don't forget you're playing in a very, very difficult division. The divisions are supposed to be back to the way they were before. And if you thought it was tough to make the playoffs last year in this division, it's going to be just as tough this year. You still have the Capitals and Penguins and the Islanders. You're going to have Carolina in the division again, and Carolina is no day at the beach. They're a very good hockey team. So, it's not going to be easy. We'll lose Boston, but we'll lose Boston and we'll lose Buffalo, but we'll get Carolina and Columbus back. So we'll get a bad team and a good team back. So it's going to be a highly competitive division. I like the move the Rangers got, provided that they could sign Barclay Goodrow. Love that move. Finally get themselves a tough player who can actually play and can drop them with anybody. So I'd like to see them get one more guy. That would be a really nice thing if they could do that. If they can't get my boy out in Vegas, Ryan Reeves, that Tyler Gabriel out in San Jose would not be a bad guy to get either. Or Lowry from the Winnipeg Jets. Those are two guys I wouldn't mind trying to get either. I think they're all gettable. So we'll see. I think the Rangers need one more of those type of players. But it would be nice if they could get someone who could get 20 to 30 points like Barclay Goodrow. Nice move for the Rangers, but that's going to be just the beginning.
And now you have the expansion draft, Seattle Kraken coming to the league next year. And Brad, there's a lot of talent available for the Kraken.
Yes, there is. I don't know that they're going to go out and they're going to fill their team with stars, though. Because, I mean, they get an $81 million payroll, and they have $81 million in salary cap space. I get that. But are they going to go blowing their money on Carey Price and Tarasenko and Voracek or Van Riemsdyk? Are they actually going to do that, or are they going to be smart and try to get maybe one star and then try to get a bunch of young tough guys that have a good upside? That's the question.
Well, what's the deal with Alexander Ovechkin being left unprotected by the Capitals?
Oh, because he's not going to sign. They know he's not going to sign with. He's not going to sign with me.
Okay, so Alexander Ovechkin's unprotected.
If they pick Alexander.
So if the Seattle Kraken go up to the podium or however the heck they do it and go, we want Alex Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin is going to laugh because he's a UFA, okay, and he's going to say, "I'm not going to sign with you, so don't waste your pick on me."
Right. So the Capitals can go ahead and protect someone that the Kraken could want and would have to play for the Kraken.
Yes. No, he wouldn't have to play for the Kraken. He's a free agent.
No. But what I'm saying is the Capitals can protect someone on their team that the Kraken might want and would be forced to play in Seattle. Whereas Alexander Ovechkin, they can pick him, but they're like, all right, like I'll just go back to Russia, or I'll retire, or I'll sign with somebody else. Like, don't pick me.
That's exactly what. That's why the Rangers got Gaudreau, because Gaudreau is okay with going to New York. There were a few places he wanted to go, and New York was one of them. He doesn't want to play for the Kraken either. That's why the Rangers didn't protect him. I mean, the Kraken are not gonna go out and get somebody, and draft a free agent from another team when they can simply wait till the free agent signing period and get him then. It's not, they're not going to do that. It's a waste of a pick. I see Prism 280 Landeskog is a option for who? Are we talking about the Flyers or the Rangers? Although I think Landeskog would be an option for anybody. He's the captain of the Colorado Rockies, and he's a real good player. And by the way, he's not a center, but he takes all the faceoffs and won I believe 54% of his faceoffs last year. So I mean, this is a guy who's really good in the faceoff circle too.
So Brett, I'm gonna bring the list up, the expansion draft list, and like if you were the Kraken GM, I want to see how you would construct this roster.
Well, you want to construct a roster when you're building a team. You want to go from the goaltend. You want to start with a goalie, then you want to start with defensemen, and then draft forwards.
So they get 30 picks. To review the rules, the Kraken get 30 picks. They get to pick one player from each team.
Right. They're not. I don't think they're going to sign any. I don't think they're going to pick up any free agents. Or maybe they might pick a restricted free agent. I don't know. That's kind of doubtful, because most of anybody who's a good restricted free agent is probably going to be taken care of. So they're not going to want to leave. So they're gonna be waiting to get paid. They're probably all protected. So as far as that's concerned, this guy Vince Dunn from St. Louis, defenseman.
Yes.
If I were the Kraken, I would not be taking Tarasenko. I would be taking Dunn. Okay. No, Dunn got traded. Dunn got traded from St. Louis, I think. But Dunn would be a guy I would take. Okay. Trying to think of some of the other defensemen who are going to be free.
Benny's Nation says Giordano will be picked.
From the Flames. Yeah, I think he's going to get picked. Although I don't think I think he's kind of over the hill. He's not been good at all the last couple of years. I know Flame fans don't like him at all anymore. The center, Mark Giordano, is good. Is real good. But the defenseman Giordano, he hasn't been very good. But I think they will pick him. They'll probably pick that guy Dylan. I agree with one of the people who posted. I don't remember.
Benny's Nation on YouTube.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Dylan will more than likely be the cap that heads to Seattle.
Yeah, I would agree because they're going to want a good physical defenseman, and I think he'd fit that bill. The big question really is going to be who's the goalie. My prediction, and I don't know how many people are going to agree with me about this, but I think the former Capital goaltender that got traded to the Canucks,
Holtby.
I think he's going to get. I know he's unprotected. I think he's going to be the goalie.
So you don't think they're going Carey Price? Go with the big name.
Carey Price. If you get Carey Price, he's got 4 more years at $10.5 million a season, and you have to pay him an $11 million roster bonus, which is due August 1st.
Right, but they don't have a team. They're not paying anybody.
I understand that, but you're picking a team, and you don't want to spend $10.5 million on a goalie. You just don't want to do that. I think that would be a horrendous mistake for them to do that. I would go with a guy like Holtby, who you can get for $5, who I think could be good if he plays behind a good defense. Vancouver's defense last year was just abominably bad. I mean, that's where I would go. As far as the Flyers, if I'm the Flyers, if I'm picking a Flyer, I might consider Voracek over JVR. Just because Voracek is the kind of guy who you can put on the team. I think he'd be a pretty good leader for them, and he's a real good playmaker. And I think he'd be fine for them on that team. And I think the Flyers would probably be dancing on the street if Voracek left, because that $8.3 million a year that they're paying him would now become free money for the Flyers, and then they can go out and get whoever the heck they want, free agency.
Yeah, I mean, if JVR goes, if Voracek goes, if Gostisbehere goes, that's all fine by me. I think those are the 3 big guns that are unprotected. Yeah. Brian Elliott's unprotected too, but he is an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, they're not gonna try to get Brian Elliott. They can do a lot better than him, and there's no.
I don't see how you don't pick Carey Price. I mean. Prism 19 chimed into the comments. I understand the money part, but the Kraken ownership group, according to Prism 280, who's a good enough source in my book on hockey to go with, he says that the ownership of the Kraken gave the green light to draft Carey Price, despite the money.
Well, no, they gave them the green light to go all the way to the cap and not to the floor. That's actually what happened. I mean, they could pick him, but the problem is, when you're building a team, do you really want to have a $10 million goalie? And Carey Price is not a young guy anymore. But
he's the face. People know him.
Oh, I get that, but there's other faces. There's other faces you could get too.
Who's going to score the goals for this team? And are it like the Golden Knights? Like, they were good right away. They had a great expansion draft. They got some good players, and they're contenders for the cup. Every year they've been in existence. Is that going to happen with the Kraken too?
I'll tell you what. Based on some of the stars that I saw available, it's extremely possible. I mean,
what division are they going to be in? Like the Colorado division?
Yes.
Or are they going to be?
I think they're going. No, they're going to be in the. They're going to be in the Pacific Division with the Canucks and
Canada, the Western Canada teams.
Yeah, well, they're going to be with the Canucks and
the Oilers.
The Oilers, no, maybe not the Oilers. Probably not the Oilers, but because Alberta's more by Chicago. But they're going to be like with Vancouver and Colorado. No, not Colorado. What am I saying? San Jose, LA.
Just look it up.
yeah. I'm not. I think they're going to be in the Pacific, but I don't know yet. But I can't see them not being in the same division as the Canucks. That's going to be a natural rivalry because they're not very far away from each other. So I'm assuming that would be pretty smart to do that. So, but there's a lot of guys they can pick up. I mean, listen, and there's free. They can go out and sign free agents too.
Yeah, I mean they already signed Dredger.
Yeah, but he's not really an impact player. But again, they could go out and they could bring it. They could try to sign Tarasenko. They can bring in Tarasenko if they wanted to. I mean, suppose they went and brought in Tarasenko, Voracek, and trying to think who else is involved in this. Yanni Gourde from Tampa Bay, or Delorme from Tampa Bay. I mean, those are both real good players. Paquette, they could get him. There's a lot of talent to go around. I know that the Carolina Hurricanes have some guys that are going to be free agents and or UFAs that aren't protected. They've got guys who they can get too. I mean, there's a lot of players in there that could end up being.
So the division, the Pacific Division, that's where the Kraken will play. It'll be the Anaheim.
I would think so.
Yeah, it's going to be the Anaheim Ducks, the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, the Los Angeles Kings, the San Jose Sharks, the Kraken, the Canucks, and the Vegas Golden Knights.
That's what I thought. I mean, it's that would just make a lot of sense. I mean, I can't imagine. Okay, now here's some other guys for you. Okay, I mean, I got the list right here. I'm looking here. They could get Getzlaf if they wanted to. I mean, I know he's old, but I mean, they could get him. They could get Richard Reichel is protected. If you're looking at some really good players here, Alex Goligoski from the Coyotes, defenseman, the Bruins. If you want to go for somebody on the Bruins, which obviously you can, but they didn't protect Rask. So I mean, he might retire if you protect him. But Sean Corrali, who's a really good forward, David Krejci, if you want a veteran center, Alex Konkachlev, I can't pronounce his name. Konkachlev, he's really good. I'll tell you what amazes me is you look at the Islanders. Okay, because they were the team that really surprised me. Some of the guys they protected, which shocked me when I took a look. They protected Cal Clutterbuck. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
Cal Clutterbuck, and they kept who's the other goon on that team? Matt Martin. They kept them, but yet they left. They left, I think, what was it that they left up? They left open. Let me check real quick. Devils. Okay, the Islanders. They left Josh Bailey unprotected. Josh Bailey is a heck of a player. Casey Cizikas is unprotected. Jordan Eberle is unprotected. These are all real good offensive players, and all these guys are unprotected. So, I mean, you've got guys like that. You take a look at the Ottawa didn't protect Evgeny Dadonov. He's a real good player. I mean, there are a lot of offensive players that are available. It's easier really to get a good offensive player than it is a good defenseman. That's why I'm saying if I were them, I'd be looking defense first and then offense. I mean, I believe that Jason Zucker on the Penguins is available. So you got that. And then Johansson is available from the Devils, who's a nice player. They'll get their pick. They're going to get their pick of the litter. And, again, if they wanted to get a face of the franchise, they could go. They can go and they could grab a guy like Tarasenko if they wanted to.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna have a good team. I think that team is going to be tough because there's too many real good players available.
It's not really the greatest division in the world.
No, but I mean, if now Toronto. I mean, I noticed that Jason Spezza is available, and I noticed Alexander Kerfoot is available. Those are guys that are good players too. I mean, going to be tough. Going to be real tough. Some of these teams are going to lose some real good players. You know, I'm looking at the Capitals right now, and we did agree on Brendan Dillon, but Justin Schultz is a pretty good player too. He wouldn't be a bad pick. Connor Sheary is not a bad player. I mean, you have to build fourth lines and third lines too. Carl Hagelin, who's got a lot of speed, you could pick him as a penalty killer. There's a lot of good choices here. I mean, the problem is you can only protect 10 players. You can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie. So you can protect 11 players. Players who are in their first and second year are not eligible, but all the rest of them, I mean, there's not that you can't protect everybody. So you're going to lose a pretty good player. I mean, I think the Rangers are going to end up losing Colin Blackwell, who had 12 goals last year on the fourth line. Yeah, you hate to lose a guy like that, but you can't protect everybody.
It's true.
So I mean,
quickly before we get out of here, a few minutes left. Flight Zone coming up after us, as they do each and every Monday. They do a great job. Stick around. If you missed anything here on the Sports Hounds, download some podcast forms. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Takeover's real. We're everywhere. Game 6 of the NBA Finals tomorrow in Milwaukee.
I think Milwaukee finishes them off.
4 straight from Milwaukee.
That's
I can't.
impressive.
They're playing phenomenal basketball. They're just in constant attack mode. They're playing phenomenal defense. And you know what, Brad? I know Devin Booker is a fun player to watch when he gets going from a scoring standpoint. But, I mean, I think he's one of the most overrated players in the entire league.
Well, he doesn't play defense, that's for sure. And
he's got no feet. He can't stay in front of anybody. He's always in foul trouble. He doesn't rebound the basketball. He doesn't pass the basketball. He doesn't make his teammates better. He doesn't push pace. He does. He also does a score.
What does it say? What does it say about Chris Paul if Phoenix loses this series?
It says what I've been saying about him for the last 5 years is 1,000% true. Look, some guys are great regular season players, but when the money's down and it's time to go get one, they can't do it, and they come up short. The NBA, it's so funny because it's so predictable. It's so predictable, the NBA. Sixers come up short, check. James Harden comes up short, check. And now Chris Paul is going to come up short once again as well, check. It's the same thing every year.
If Chris Paul scores like 40 points tomorrow when they lose, though, you can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's always something with Chris Paul.
No,
it's always something.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Chris Paul, if he really wants to be considered an all-time great player,
you got to get one.
The series and get one here. You're in the finals finally. Come back and get one here. You're not injured. There's no reason why you can't be the man for a couple of games and win this series for your team. This is when, as a leader, you have to step in there and take over these next 2 games.
And I just don't think he's going to. And he looks like such a douchebag out there. He's always got his jersey tucked in, which is fine, but he's always got his chest puffed out. He's always bitching at the refs about something. He's got
that Russell Westbrook attitude with the refs. Every time somebody touches him, he does cry.
But like Russell Westbrook, you could go punch Russell Westbrook in the face as long as he gets his triple-double. He's happy. As long as Russell Westbrook gets his.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Paul's like that at all. I think these losses kill him inside.
Oh, he certainly should be used to them.
Yeah, no, I understand.
He certainly should be used to them.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer, but you know what? His plaque will look a lot better if it says one world championship on it. He's got to step up now and be the leader of this team.
And what another take by Brinkman, Bucks and 6. Another cold take, perceived cold take by the general public. Once again, correct. Like I said, offer stands. Sean Patrick, any of those other haters. If you're a hater of A2D Radio, if you're a hater of the Sports Hounds, if you're a hater of Rob Brinkman, whatever. You drop me a DM. You be on the show next week. We'll debate whatever you want. You pick the topic. I'll go in blind and I'll school you. So I'm sick of this.
And you got me behind you too.
Yeah. Well, we disagree. You might be on their side. I don't know. Who cares? It's agree to disagree radio. No one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, not usually though. Usually we agree on most things.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a big baseball show next week unless someone wants to step up and step into the Lions Den. Remember we used to be called the Lions Den for a brief minute?
Yes.
On whatever station we were on.
WVLT in Vineland.
Don, I don't even want to school you. You're too nice a guy, and you're our Midwest confidant. You're a Lions fan. You're a Red Wings fan. You're a Tigers fan. So I don't want to school you too.
By the way, Don, Letty was a good pickup. If you want my opinion.
But until then, thank you to our sponsors: Specialized Physical Therapy, Body Check Wellness, Alan Foy, eXp Realty, Johnny Coyle at All Campus. Check out the Ramp booth every Friday night. Thank you to everyone who liked the show, subscribed to the show, commented on the show. Thank you to Frank Vespi for producing the show. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.